Hello and welcome to this discussion on the subscription economy. It's going to be a very interesting discussion on pipeline companies versus platform companies. So stay with me till the end and let's quickly begin. Well, if we understand the whole idea of an organization, what we find is that the idea of an organization is to deliver value to its customers. The modern day economy works like this, that there's a company which typically looks like a pipeline, which means that at one end of it, it creates value, and at the other end of it, it transacts that created value for a fee or for a sum, and hence goes back to its nature of creating value. This value could be in the terms of ideas, it could be in the terms of creation, which is say manufacturing, or it could be in the terms of measuring. Now, while all these three activities are performed typically by all organizations, certain organizations found that if they could leave aside the ideation and the creation process to other producers and focus purely on the measuring part, they could do better, because typically organizations which are focused at one task, one thing, end up doing much better, end up commanding a huge strength in the market, and at times turn into a monopoly. So these are called as the platform companies. Why platform? Purely because they offer a platform where, while they manage the platform, they allow other producers of ideas, other creationists to come and hop in, join them, and create higher value. Why? Because unlocking value seems to be the biggest strength and the strategic intent of organizations which want to not only grow big but also grow long. So how do you do that? Look, if you can leave aside the focus of ideating and creating to other producers, to other companies, to people who are good at those functions, what you can do is you can focus on measuring the flow of information, the flow of goods, the flow of revenues, and based on that you can find out where flows get stuck, and hence how to uncover or unlock value from those flows. How does one do it? Well, platform companies, what they do is, their first intent is what we call as the pull intent, which means they love to pull companies which are similar or which can add value within the platform structure. Like, say for example, whether you're a marketplace or whether you are an application, they want to pull people with similar strengths onto the platform. What this does is that it helps them to enlarge the platform and hence discover more value out of the whole platform per se, and in turn share some of it with the other producers also. The second is the match factor, which means that while you are pulling in, you need to match to see that whether they fall in. It's similar like recruitment. You need to see whether the person is in line with what the organization wants. And the third part is the facilitation part, which plays the bigger role, that as a platform your job is to facilitate the beautiful exchange and the interactions between the various entities who are operating on the platform to ideate, create, measure, and hence unlock and deliver value. Now, how are companies doing that? Let's take the case of LinkedIn. What LinkedIn did was that LinkedIn started off as a company which became an online place for user profiles. Over time it found that information exchange could add higher value if I could allow people to post. Why? Because Facebook and other mediums at that point in time were, of course, all about their posts. So immediately LinkedIn understood this and thus began its journey towards expanding into a platform. While it was not at the start. At the start, it was still a pipeline company. The next thing what it did do, it allowed advertisers and recruiters to come into the platform. What that did was that allowed up options to open up, and now they allowed people to recommend each other, review each other's skills, and thus create it easier for other people who could be interested in their skill sets, who could be interested in their competencies, to now join up into the platform, right? And then came the value deliverables, whether it's through LinkedIn Learning or through the informational posts that you often see on LinkedIn. So you can see slowly, even a software company, which started off as a pipeline company, grew into a pure user platform. Now, what is the benefit in these user platforms? Today, you have to understand the fact that inefficiencies are being spotted very fast, and they are also being socialized, named and shared. Which means that if you have inefficiency in your process, in your system, it will be shown to the world, it will be spoken about, and if you don't, you will perish. Number two, you have to understand that the concept of pipelines, where value was created at one end and value was transacted on the other end, is today being eaten up by software because the whole gap is being reduced, right? How is this gap being reduced? Because again, the third point, which is that compared to earlier concepts of markets are today being replaced by networks. What you had earlier as distribution chains have today become distribution networks and neural pathways, leading to community networks being built, which are purely focused on issue-based requirements of goods and services. And finally, this has led to people not hankering behind assets, but what was the old school leasing method come in the form of the subscription economy, which means people want to use goods and services by paying a subscription. So whether it's an Uber or whether it's an Airbnb or whether it's a Zomato or whether it's rent a car, people want to move to paying a subscription based on whether they like it or not, or including entertainment, and they would like to explore things differently when it comes to how they live their lives. Consider the next big boom to be coming where apparels will be rented, where you will probably subscribe to a grey suit today and a green blazer tomorrow. So this concept is in. Now, why is this concept in? So is the subscription economy only limited to B2C, which means to retail customers? No. Even in B2B, the subscription economy is strongly poised. Just look at the difference between the APIs that Amazon provides for as a platform for other applications and other smaller firms to come and distribute and unlock their value potential compared to Walmart, which absolutely has none. So, and this is why the huge yawning gap between Walmart and Amazon. Now, what would you do in such a situation? How can you take the path? Let me give you a very good example of a company which has really taken the path, and not today, since 2012. Nike very early understood that it had to take the path. It had to move towards creating value, unlocking value, because Nike did not want to just remain as the sneaker company. There were too many people creating sneakers. There were people came up with their personal brands and personal labels, and thus it was a market in disruption. So what does Nike do? The first thing it does is it makes horizontal acquisitions, which means it looks at a company which offers fitness and wellness services. It picks up a wearable brand, right? Now, what it allows is that products which are in the same industry, when you acquire them, they are called as horizontal acquisition. Vertically, which means that people who are not in the same industry but aligned to your business, they are called as the vertical companies. Now, in the vertical fit companies, what can you do? Now, there are three stages. The first, of course, is to integrate, right? So, if you are not in a platform, to integrate with the platform. Like, it serves Nike to integrate with Amazon because it gets exposed to a huge community of sneaker lovers. The second part is to exchange. Now, where it is impossible for you to integrate for whether regulatory reasons or for competitive reasons, you can always exchange, right? You can see that if you can add value, discover value by exchanging. And the third is to collaborate. Like, say for example, if you want to collaborate by offering your technology out, you can actually increase the size of the market. One of the best examples is Tesla's battery technology. Elon Musk and Tesla decided to free up their battery technology, leading to a bigger boom in EV vehicles and thus enlarging the whole EV market. So which means that if you have to platform, if you have to move and shift towards from a pipeline to a platform, you may want to pick up some of these business strategies and see how you can further align yourselves. Of course, people like us are always available to guide you and help you out. So do reach us out. We believe strongly that analytics can help you understand and measure information which can further help you to unlock value. This, of course, is not a one-day journey. This is a path to be taken with the full confidence of the board and to understand. But once you start scripting smaller successes, you, I'm sure, will be able to add confidence, give out much more control to parties external to the organization, and thus build a more interactive, modular, collaborative platform. Because with the shifting sands of time, what is happening is that if we don't awake and smell the coffee today, tomorrow we might be left with an empty cup. Things are shifting at a very rapid pace. Change is happening. People are coming up with weird ideas, but also successful ones. And once market gets created and people get addicted and hooked, it becomes very difficult. I can give you a very simple example. I remember when I was trying to create one social media market for debating, and I do believe that X, or what is Twitter, has a great potential and will do a lot more if it moves from simple topic-based discussions to a debating platform, because it seems ideating the space of ideation does lack good startups. In fact, if you look at Twitter itself, what brought about Twitter's fame, it was hashtags, which was proposed by a Google engineer. Why? Because if you had to see other comments in the same topic one of the biggest problems Twitter had is that you had to go on an unending search. That got solved by the introduction of hashtags. And hashtags have become so famous that they have today been elevated into news category by the media. So some of them definitely are matters of brilliance, sudden luck or chance, and some of them are very carefully crafted, understanding exactly how the market is behaving, because there are certain constants even in this whole dynamic flow, and that is the human mind and the way humans think. That has not yet evolved. Yes, the way it is displayed, the way it is accentuated has definitely evolved. Like, say for example, automobile companies love to call themselves today as mobility companies. So these are changes which have evolved. They do not create a very dynamic change as far as the human mindset is concerned, but they do bring about a pattern of choices and preferences where too much of human interaction is not the key. Rather, a flexibility in the interactions and a good amount of modulation can bring about a quick success. With this, I would like to thank you. Those interested, let me know if you want to see part 2 of this. I shall create it where the focus will be on how to become successful in a subscription economy. With this, thank you for your patience and have a nice day ahead.